So before we start this video, I just want to tell you a couple things so that you know you're getting good information. The information I tell you is what I learned and what other high elo and professional cat players are doing. I started in Season 6 and I'm a Diamond 5 Cat 1 trick. Although that isn't the highest, it's going to get higher this season. Here are 5 different starting items you can do with Cat. The ones on the right are outdated and are not very good. The ones on the left are newerish options and are much better for Cat in Season 8. You can now start Longsword on Cat since she has more AD ratios. The adaptive damage in your rune page switches from AP to AD, making your early damage a bit stronger. Darksteel is a middle option. It's not as much damage as Longsword, but it has bonus sustain from your pots. Duron's Shield is an item I would take over Cloth Armor. It's great against damage over time, poke, or if you're just gonna get harassed and just want more health in lane. Try to maximize its cooldown. From your first couple of backs, you obviously want to build Gunblade, but you are able to make some early resists if you need them. If you're winning lane and you want to roam, just build Sorcerer Shoes. Next, you want to finish any component item you've made, or start building one. You can pick any of these, it just depends on what you need. I will explain more of this later. Now your build might start looking like this. Let's say you rushed an early Hexdrinker, then got Sorks and Gunblade. You might not want to finish the Hexdrinker. You could just continue building other items. Your build could also look like this, where you got Gunblade, got a bunch of Flat Pen, then maybe you didn't need Voice Staff, so you could go Zhonya's here. The build is basically just Gunblade, boots, then whatever you need. Here's an example of what a end build might look like. You always want to finish Gunblade before any other full item just because of how good Gunblade is. The slow helps you land your combo, and the healing is great. AD early helps your damage, and the active burst is just a cherry on top. If you want damage after Gunblade and Sorks, then you want to look at these 2 magic pen items. Just to touch over it real quickly, because I could talk a lot about this. If people are not making any MR, then you want Haunting Guys. If they do, then you want Voice Staff. Having them both when the opponent doesn't have MR is overkill and a waste of gold. Hexdrinker is a gold efficient item without its passive, and the passive even scales into the late game. The fact that it's so cheap just makes it even better, since you can build this and not delay Gunblade by too much. Depending on the mid laner, you might not even need MR because you can dodge their abilities. Zhonya's on the other hand will almost always be great. There is always an AD carry, and the active just helps your team fighting by so much. Upgrading Seekers into Zhonya's doesn't actually give you more armor, it just gives you more AP in the active. If you want more tankiness but you don't need Zhonya's or Hexdrinker, then just finish Liandry's. It gives you AP and a chunk of health. Rabadon fits into your build very oddly. If they do not have MR, Haunting Guys is just going to do more damage. If they do, Voice Staff is going to do more damage. If you build Flat Pen, they might just react to its magic resist. You would have to build Voice Staff after your Flat Pen. This makes building Rabadons kinda awkward. If I have Gunblade, boots, a Haunting Guys, and a Voice Staff, I probably want some utility or resist after that, so I wouldn't make Rabadons. Rabadons is a late game item, but it's really hard to build in the late game because of how goddamn expensive it is. You only have one more space to finish it, it's filled by the large rod, but you still need a lot of gold. Ninja Tabbies is a fantastic item if they have a bunch of AD. Murktrise on the other hand has MR, but it isn't gold efficient like Ninja Tabbies is. If they have a lot of AP damage, but a lot of squishies, you probably still want Sorks. Just make a different MR item. Murktrise for the most part is just for CC. Luden's Echo is a terrible item. It isn't gold efficient whatsoever, and it delays your build. It's an expensive glass cannon item. If you don't finish the game within 10 minutes of making this item, it's gonna feel terrible. I don't think Rallies is that bad, but it doesn't fit into the build very well. I'd rather just build other items most of the time. If I'm against a bunch of bruisers or tanks, then I might consider it. You already have the slow from Gunblade, so you don't really need to invest into another. Banshees is pretty garbage. You often want it against an AP opponent like Annie, Syndra, or Fizz. 25 magic resist is not going to cut it. You sit on the component items for too long. These component items aren't that good on Cat compared to other component items. Why sit on a 25 MR mantle when you could just make Hex Drinker and be much stronger right now? You also delay Gunblade by a ton by building Banshees. It's 3000 gold compared to Hex Drinker's 1300. If you do finish Banshees, the spell shield often isn't worth very much. Since you're a melee champ, it's going to get popped by any random spell that hits you. It will rarely be a spell that you want to prevent. That being said, if you're against a team with a lot of pick, like Ashe or maybe Zoe, then it can be good to prevent those. Tank items can be pretty good on Cat. I prefer to build them when I'm ahead by a ton. This is because you can do damage just from being ahead in levels. They're also great against AD or AP heavy teams. The most viable options are Deadman's and Spirit Visage. Deadman's gives you some more damage and a slow to help you land your combo. Spirit Visage increases the healing from Gunblade and Ravenous Hunter. For the skill order, you want to max Q. Some cats put a couple points into E before maxing Q. It lets you get your Shumpo back faster after catching a dagger, but you can Q much more often than you can E in lane, so I just suggest maxing Q. In this match, Perk started Dark Seal and Refillable. He probably knew he was going to stomp his laner. Refillable is greedy, but it can work. Notice how he got 2 early longswords to increase his early game. After Gunblade, he just builds a bunch of flat pen. You can see that they have no MR, so this was really good. He's against Ryze in a Jarvan jungle. One root from Ryze basically means death, so he rushed Merc Treads. He took TP in this matchup. I like taking TP in lanes where the only possible way I kill them is if they actually do not have hands. You lose a lot of pressure without Ignite, but it can be worth it. After Gunblade, he makes Zhonya's. My boy SCARRA started Dark Seal, then made Cutlass. Cutlass does less damage than Revolver, but if you already do enough damage, the slow can help you land your combo and kill them. He then gets Mercs for the MR and CC that they have on their team. He then got Seekers and finished his 2 items, getting a Void Staff next. Hunting guys would be cheaper for their squishies, but they have tanks with MR, so he got Void Staff. He bought a stopwatch after. If you have Zhonya's and a stopwatch, you're able to use both one after another. Electrocute is the best option, period. Dark Harvest conceptually makes sense, but it's too weak early and you don't stack it fast enough. You always want to go sudden impact. The lethality and magic pen it adds just benefits your early game way too much. Second is preference. Eyeball has more damage, but I prefer Zombie Ward. Next is also preference. Move speed and healing are both great options for Cat. The lower cooldown on your items isn't going to be that good because you can't Zhonya's or Gunblade twice in a team fight. If it looks like a fight's going to happen, but your Zhonya's is on 20 seconds, then just tell your team to wait. In the late game especially, there's a lot of time between fights. Usually your cooldowns will be up by then. Cat can take every secondary tree. Honestly, if it makes sense to you, then it's probably fine to take it. Here are what most people are taking. This is the page that basically everybody takes. This is probably the best page at the moment. A lot of fighting happens, and Triumph gives you some good gold and a ton of healing that can save you throughout the game. I love Dangerous Game in the old Mastery system, and this is basically just super dangerous game. Coup de Grace deals more damage when people are low, and you get more damage after killing somebody. This is exactly what Cat wants. I honestly don't know what they were thinking with these runes. You literally have 4 different runes for the price of 2. I've seen a lot of high elo Cat players go Celerity and Water Walking. This improves your roams by a ton. Movement speed is pretty valuable. Alternatively, you could also take Nullifying Orb. Free Hex Drinker passive is also great. I guess something oppressive like Kassadin. I like this page. You get MR and Sustain to improve your laning phase. I've seen Cat Evolved, a challenger NA Cat player, take this page a lot. You basically just get a lot of free gold, and who doesn't want that? This page makes a ton of sense. If you have any questions, just comment them down below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Please like and sub if you enjoyed the video. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.